So, in this video, we're going to be covering what factors contribute to rising and falling inflation. And so, what factors contribute to rising and falling inflation? Inflation, the general rise in prices, is driven by a mix of demand side, supply side, and structural factors. Here's a breakdown of the major causes of rising and falling inflation. So, five factors that contribute to rising and falling inflation are: demand pull inflations, too much money chasing too few goods. So, strong consumer spending, for example, post COVID reopening, expansionary fiscal policy, government spending and stimulus checks, loose monetary policy, so low interest rates and quantitative easing, credit growth, and easy borrowing. So that all comes under demand pull inflation. And you've got cost push inflation number two, which is rising input costs, energy, wages, and raw materials. You've got supply chain disruptions, for example, shipping delays and factory shutdowns. You've got currency depreciation, and this makes imports more expensive. And you've got higher commodity prices and oil, food, and metals. And these are factors that contribute to rising inflation. Three, you've got wage price spirals. So workers demand higher wages due to higher prices. Companies raise prices to cover wage increases, and this loop sustains inflation over time. Number four, you've got monetary policy errors. So central banks keep rates too low for too long, and also delayed response to inflation as expectations become or lead to expectations becoming unanchored. So that is a contributing factor. And fifth is deglobalization or trade barriers. So tariffs, reshoring of supply chains, increased production costs, and less efficient global trade raises prices. So those are the main five factors that contribute to rising inflation. So when you see and you're looking at something like Bloomberg or Reuters or wherever you get your news from, and you start to see these types of headlines start to be on the pages, front pages, or some of the sub pages of these big publications, there's a possibility that, of course, inflation it will contribute to inflation, and therefore, if it contributes to inflation, then and it starts to rise above that 2%. Inflation target, then you can kind of anticipate what the central bank may do with interest rates in terms of hiking interest rates. And so we also have six factors that contribute to falling inflation. So one is weaker demands, the disinflationary pressures, so higher interest rates, so tight monetary policy, of course. Higher interest rates will lead to interest rates falling, reduced government spending, a recession or economic slowdown, declining consumer and business confidence. We have falling commodity prices, so oil, gas, food, metals price declines, and this eases cost pressures on producers and consumers. Three, we have currency appreciation, so strong currency makes imports cheaper and helps reduce imported inflation, especially in commodity dependent economies like, for example, the Australian dollar, or even the Chinese economy, right? We have improving supply chains that contribute to falling inflation, and fewer disruptions lead to lower costs and stable inventories. And global trade normalization can lead to falling inflation. Technological progress and productivity gains, so automation and tech, reduce production costs, and e-commerce increases price transparency and competition. And we have a tight labor market cool off. So wage growth slows, reducing cost push pressures. And so inflation expectations also matter, right? And so if households and businesses expect higher inflation, they change behavior. So that leads to demand, wage hikes, and raise in prices. So, it's again that looking at what the data is saying now and what could potentially come in the future also matters, and really kind of buying the rumor or selling the rumor of whether inflation is going to rise, as that will definitely change business behavior, will change consumer behavior. And but I said what I say and but expectations will stay anchored, or if expectations stay anchored, inflation pressures are easier to control. So expectations are a big factor as to why as they influence behavior, which will then or could influence inflation. And so, real world examples in 2021, 2022, rising inflation, so COVID supply chain shocks we had, and massive fiscal stimulus, low rates, and QE, and surging energy prices. And this was due to the Ukraine war. So, again, this is from 2020 where we had COVID, and then from 2021 into 2022 what we had was inflation rising across the board, right? So this is the US inflation rates, sorry, not interest rates, inflation rates rising. We had European inflation rising. And we had eventually as well Japanese inflation lagged a bit, but eventually ended up rising from negative, from minus 1 to up to I think about 3 or 4%. So again, that's a real world example of inflation rising across the board. And we have a real world example of inflation falling. So in 2023, 2024, central bank rates were hiked, normalizing supply chains, slower growth, and a decline in commodity prices. And so when we look at inflation, when all that was happening, we could see that inflation started to fall again into 2023, into 2024, right? 2023 here, 2024 there. And so we could see across the board inflation in the US, inflation in Europe, and across Japan, falling. Some inflation fell more than others, right? So you had probably a bigger drop in Europe than you did in Japan, but overall the trend was still to the downside. So that leads us to the next video, which is why rate cuts can lead to currency appreciation and rate hikes can lead to currency depreciation.